Today's High Performance Podcast is brought to you by Josh Phegan Digital. It's the only place to track and keep yourself accountable by looking at all of the essential numbers, from buyer appointments, market appraisals and listing appointments, to listings, sales and income, and working in 45-minute sessions. You'll find it all on Josh Phegan Digital. Welcome to High Performance, the podcast featuring Josh Phegan and Alexander Phillips. Alexander, we hear a lot of people talk about what culture is like inside of a business. And, we know that every single time that you add someone into a business, it changes the entire culture again. If you had to categorize like the culture of Alexander Phillips's personal team, outside of PPD, but inside of Alexander Phillips's personal team, what would you sort of categorize as? Like, what's it supposed to feel like when you're in that environment and when you're in that office?
I'll probably put that back onto you, Josh. Like, how would you see our team in the marketplace if you're an outsider, like a potential vendor or a buyer, or maybe a potential employee coming back, looking at coming to our team? How would you explain it?
I'd say that literally there's a high amount of pace. There's a very clear process around what it is that you do. If you list a property, it does sell, and it sells in a very short period of time. If you're a buyer, you have to declare interest and put that white flag up straight away if you're interested in purchasing the moment that it goes on market. Naturally, nothing's going to be missed in terms that literally there's going to be great buyer inquiry, good quality buyer follow-up, making sure that buyers are fully aware that the property is going to be sold if it's going to be selling prior. Then in addition to that, if it doesn't sell, there's a lot of cross-selling to actually take you in terms of a buyer transfer from one property to the next, which might be via a phone call, or Kenji and your team does a great SMS with 3 additional properties that you could go to purchase. And then from a coach's perspective, when I go to sit inside and watch what happens inside of it, we've got you making a ton of calls and a ton of momentum. The guys don't turn up late. Like, everyone knows when they've got to turn up and when they're going to be there inside of the office. And Prue is there to run everything that's operational, admin, team management, vendor preparation, vendor compliance, all of those things that need to happen, putting all of the contracts and things together on a legal side. So then you can just stay doing what you're doing. But this is like New York Stock Exchange. We're here on ground. We're here to make momentum happen. There's no call reluctance or getting caught up in office drama or being worried about what's going on. That's the perception. How close am I to what it actually is?
It's pretty spot on. I think, for us, it is, extremely high paced, it's energetic. But I think because we work so well as a team, and the amount of volume that we do, there's still there's a bit of stress, but not really, because it's so well ironed out that we could probably carry 50 listings, I think. Like, we could really, for us, 30 listings is, a good number, but we've got the right amount of energy, process, doing the right actions for each property as well. There's no time wastage, cutting out or peeling back, so there's less layers of selling a house and doing the simple things really well and multiplying that by 10. I think that's really what we do. I think a lot of, everyone that is in my team sort of thrives off of there. It's times when there's a few cracks, but there's a lot of people who would come in and just would be blown away and would be leaving within a couple of minutes.
And I think a lot about that is that, literally there's a ton of opportunity that's created in your business. And so if you think about it as an agent, the number one job that you've got is to try and get as much customer exposure as possible. So if I'm in a business where I get the chance to be in and around 30 opens on a Saturday, there's a lot of customer exposure, and you have a heavy reliance that those people are going to identify which of those customers are going to be progressing forward in a transaction, who wants to buy, who's going to need to sell, what is that going to look like. And Alex, if someone's given an opportunity and given the pass and doesn't do something with it, you will know pretty much straight away that that's actually happened. Whereas ultimately, if you can see that you've given someone an opportunity and they go on, so in other words, they sell a property, they do all the just sold work and pick up another listing off the back of it, then you reward them with more opportunity over and over and over again. And I think that whole idea here is that, you're signing your name as though you're Alexander Phillips sitting inside of that team, and there's an expectation of what actually comes with that brand. So if you're going to be the one who's going to be doing the callbacks, mate, Alex wants to know how many of those people that walk through that open home at Sunshine Drive, for example, were actually owner occupiers. How many are in a position that are out of area owners? How many were landlords and investors? How many were first home buyers? How many of those neighbours do we then book in to go and see for a market appraisal or listing presentation? And who's got a genuine need to go and do something because of the questions that you actually asked? And Alex, I guess that's the big difference is that, you can see someone who comes to join your team that whilst there's a bit of a pressure environment, it's a pressure that is actually very relieving because you know that you're actually getting results and you're producing income. But most importantly, that your customer actually knows that, hey, you know what, you're on the market with Alex now, you're going to get a really high level of service inside of the team. I guess that's a really important part why you spend so much time in picking the people that come to join your team, right? To make sure that they've got that level of momentum and consistency and energy. Because if someone doesn't have that, there's just no way that they're going to survive inside of that environment.